I was a part of this group chat. It's a pretty big group chat in Fort Wayne. It's called Nosy Neighbors of Fort Wayne. And leading up to it, all I seen was just like negativity, like, and people love drama. People want to invest into the drama. There's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, when it's an everyday basis where this whole group chat is revolved around that, I kind of got tired of it. So, last year, around December 1st, I was like, man, I want to do something for my birthday. And I really didn't know what exactly I wanted to do for my birthday, but I wanted to do something big. Um, and so I was sitting one night, and basically I was just kind of. Sometimes I like to sit alone by myself and think, in my thoughts. And I had an idea, or an idea was given to me, for me to do something, um, for the homeless, because I've seen a lot of individuals kind of struggling and kind of going through a hard time. And I've been truly blessed, to be able to be in the position that I am. So I had the idea to basically, for my 23rd birthday, I wanted to take $2,300, and I wanted to basically buy a whole bunch of essentials, food, waters, whatever, and just pass them out.
I could see where people would, want to kind of be a part of that. And I did, because I was like, man, let me get a hold of this dude,
Yeah.
because I'm already doing a little bit here and there on social media myself,
Right.
trying to run my podcast. Let me try to get a hold of him.
Yeah.
Or, at best, let me try to just get him involved in some other things that I'm doing. So go ahead, man. Continue.
So that night, my girlfriend was like, "So what are
Are
you
you
gonna,
crazy?
what are you gonna do? Like, there's over like 500 people that just seen this post, And she was kind of putting the pressure on me, and I was like, okay, I have to think. And my whole thing was like, I had a bunch of ideas where, like, one of them was like doing like gift baskets, of like just essentials. But at the same time, I'm like, I can't really do like a one size fits all, because people need different things. So I'm like, wait, like, Walmart has a travel section where it's just like literally little essentials that you could use for like the day or two, maybe a week. Um, and I was like, honestly, let's do that. Let's basically get some food so we could feed the individuals for the day, for 2 days, whatever. Get some waters. And also, shout out to my girlfriend. She was like, well, if you're gonna get essentials, you still have to get essentials from women. And I wasn't seeing that side,
Right. Okay.
and that was a big thing, because like, there was a couple, like a group of women that came, and they were like, wow, they even got pads and this and that, and they were like, he's so thoughtful, and I was like, okay, like, that's really because of my girlfriend.
Like, tell me some of those different requests that people were trying to get you, like the scammers. They always got to show up.
So yeah, I mean, I had people kind of writing me like paragraphs of like what they were going through, and how like me paying for their bills or their groceries would help them out. But at the same time, it's like, I want to be able to help out as many people as I can. Because if let's say I took $500 and I gave it to you and then paid for your bill, yeah, that only helps out you. But there's 100 other people that that I've kind of reached out to, without actually reaching out to them, that
Right.
I still feel obligated to help.
Yeah, it's not like you're a church, no,
Right,
profit or something.
exactly,
Yeah, of course.
exactly.
Okay.
So that's where like I kind of had to decide, like, okay, like, what is my main goal here? And my main goal was to try to help as many people out as I possibly can. And the least, with the least amount of effort that they would have to put in. That's why I did Promenade originally.
Okay.
Just because of the fact that, like, literally within 15 minutes of any which direction you go, you'll reach your destination.
Right.
Woke up around 11, and I got like a whole bunch of text messages, and one of the other barbers at the barber shop was like, hey, Eddie from 21 Alive stopped by, and he was asking for your social medias or whatever, or something to contact you. I gave him, he left me his number. I give him a call back. I'm like, Eddie from 21 Alive? I was like, what does he want? And basically I gave him a call, and he was like, hey, like, I seen what you did. I want to interview you.
Right.
And the only thing that came into my head at the time was, hey, like, it's about the message, not the messenger.
Yeah.
You know, like it kind of defeats the purpose of me doing this event and doing this on my birthday if I were to literally go on an interview right afterwards and be like, hey, this is why I did it, you know? And it just didn't feel right to me. So at the time I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna kind of hold off on that. But
Right.
next time I do an event like this, I would want you to be there doing your thing, just kind of getting the event actually happening rather than the aftermath of it happening.
Okay.
Aftermath of what happened, you know?
It's been a very long time for us to make this connection, and finally, I'm very happy for the outcome. I've only been asking you maybe like 40,000 times. No, just a few times I've asked just for you to be here, because like you were mentioning, you know, this process that it took to gain that much traction from this great deed that you wanted to do for the community.
Like a lot of people know me as a barber, but they fail to realize that I have a life outside of barbering. And that life outside of barbering gets crazy sometimes because like I have a YouTube channel that has been like I've been MIA for a while on, but I recently got back into it. And like I kind of like going out, I like having fun, I like connecting with people my age. And just kind of doing normal 23-year-old things, you know, but at the same time being responsible, you know,
Right.
in that process.
How did you get to be the person who you are right now spiritually?
So growing up, I felt like my parents were Buddhists. Everybody in my family is Buddhist.
Okay, you are. What's your background? Are you?
I'm Burmese.
Burmese. Okay, great.
So growing up, I always questioned whether Buddha was God or not. And growing up, I would always ask my parents this one question. I'm like, is Buddha God or not? And you guys are my parents. So whatever they would have told me, I would have ran with it, you know? And a lot of these individuals that I would have these debates or like these like back and forths with, they would have such a strong foundation that I couldn't really say anything other than like, Buddha was a teacher, you know, like
Right.
I couldn't ever claim that Buddha was God because my parents they've never openly said it, you know. And every time I would ask these questions, my parents would be like, oh, you have to go talk to this monk that, you know, knows scripture and this and that. And it never sat right with me because I was like, how are you following teachings that you fully don't understand, that you have to get from another individual to understand?
Right.
You know? So that never made sense to me, and I feel like religion kind of turned me off for a while. But I had a lot of Christian friends growing up, and I'd go to church, but like I never really understood. Like I knew certain names in, you know, the Christian world, but I really didn't pay attention to it. Because in my eyes, how I seen it was Christians would basically preach about, you know, the good, but then they go to church one day, but then they'd be the same the rest of the week, and then, you know, they'd go repent, and it's the same process.
Like you.
And so like I really didn't understand like how people could be Christian or claim that they're Christians but do all of this.
Okay.
So I also turned off kind of for Christianity, and then Hinduism. It's like, bro, I can't worship 1,000 gods.
Buddhism basically didn't add up to this religious goal that you had in mind. You use logic, but then at the same time, you know, faith is not logically sound, you know. So how did you make that transition? Because that's a huge leap too.
So, I mean, it was a while because, like, literally, I got baptized a month ago last year, when I was 22. So it was, I feel like so ever since I joined the executive, my mentor has been planting seeds. And I would have these meetings with him where I'm like, man, I'm so lost. I don't know like what the truth is. Like everybody tells me one thing, but then, you know, it's a different thing, and I just don't know. And I told him, I was like, I've been chasing truth for the longest, but like I feel like I have a grasp, but then every time I feel like I have a grasp, it just slowly slips away.
Right.
And so he asked me, he was like, do you know who Jesus was? And I'm like, I mean, I've heard of Jesus, but I don't really know who Jesus is. So then he told me to read the first 5 books. And I started with Matthew. And when I was reading Matthew, I'm like, yo, like certain things that I'm reading correlates to my life and which season I'm in. And so literally like
Kevon, go make that guy turn his car off, man. I'm just messing with you. I'm just joking, man. Sorry. It's like whenever I do this, somebody always got their loud cars outside or something. He's a soldier, man. He was getting ready to go do it.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
We're trying to record him.
How is this going to transpire? Okay, so go ahead, man.
So yeah, I just for the longest, because of the Christians that are like hypocrites that will judge other Christians. I didn't want to call myself a Christian, so I would say I'm a follower of Christ, and like literally like I try to align everything in my life to follow that. And at the time I didn't know what grace was, and grace is a huge part of Christianity. And so,
what's the huge part of Buddhism then? If it's not grace, what is it? What do you think is the primary?
So how I see Buddhism is it's self-preservation.
How so?
So basically, you're meditating, you're working on yourself, you're basically working on yourself to reach this certain state of spiritualism, which is technically
like
nirvana. Like that's like the heaven. But it didn't make sense because it's like I've meditated for like hours. I sat by myself for hours. That doesn't change anything. And then I've also seen other monks dedicate their entire lives. I've seen older people dedicate their entire lives to Buddhism, and it's like there's not really a big difference in their life regardless of how much they're meditating, working on themselves. So I seen it as this like self-centered sort of it was a very self-centered view, and it was all about, in my eyes, self-preservation. And that just didn't sit right with me because I'm like,
so in Buddhism there's no charitable actions, or
I mean, like at the temple they'll have like donations and stuff, but it's only like within the community itself.
Okay.
It's not stepping outside the community. Like I'll go out like I'll give out to like Muslims, Hindus, Jewish people. I don't care,
Right.
But for like my parents and stuff, I feel like what happened at the temple is based off of the community itself rather than everybody outside the community.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that totally makes sense. So what is the difference, like the real difference between Christianity and Buddhism? And what I mean is, so they have a God, right? They have Buddhists, they have Buddha. We have the Lord, of course, the Trinity, and I'm sure is that the only God in Buddhism, just Buddha himself. There's no other beings, spiritual beings.
No, and that's what I didn't understand, because I'm like, how, like in Christianity, like Jesus comes as a man, in Buddhism, my dad tried to tell me one time, he was like, oh, Buddha's lived many lives to reach this point of him being a god, or to him like being this like being.
Okay, so they have resurrection.
Yeah. So it's like the cycle. So basically, the whole story of Siddhartha, who is Buddha, is he was a prince that literally had everything. And his parents only kept young, healthy individuals around him. So his life was basically within he had tunnel vision, right? And it was only this. And it was only what his parents would feed him. But then one day he left outside the castle walls, and he basically seen all the stages of life, because outside the castle his parents couldn't really protect what he's seen, what he whatever. And so fast forward, he basically had like this, like his entire reality was shifted once he seen old people, people that were suffering, dying people, dead people, like he's never seen that his entire life.
So would he be something to the effect of like Jesus Christ? Because like, for instance, Jesus Christ, he had everything to his disposal, but he chose to, be the savior for us. Right.
Right. And so
he had this reckoning, and I'm just trying to draw like some type of similarities to see what's different.
Because I'm like, if Buddha is God, then how is he a man? You know, that's my whole thing. But like, for example, I would ask that for Christians too. I'm like,
Right.
if Jesus is God, how is he a man? But like in Christianity, it explains the Trinity and how Jesus is the incarnation of the Word. But in Buddhism, they can't, like, no one can really explain that. I just basically started holding like Jesus as like the highest, and then literally anything that I would question, I'd be like, okay, like, does this match up to what Jesus taught? Like, does this hold to what Jesus taught? And so that's where I quickly started realizing like what the truth was to what the lies were.
I know it's a lot of people out there who are Buddhist that maybe would say something different to your point.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, we all have to live our truth, and
Right.
you are living yours, and you have fully invested yourself into Christianity. And I mean, your ways and actions show it, which is why you were able to draw so much attention. All right, what's your family structure like, man?
So I'm an only child. My parents and I are refugees from Burma, so I have no family here. It's just me, my mom, and my dad. And ever since I was a young kid, they were like, hey, once we die, you're here all by yourself. So you got to learn how to stand on your own 2 feet. And as a kid, that's kind of traumatizing because it's like, shit, like, you
It's
know,
the truth.
That's the truth, you know? So at the end of the day, like, in the back of my mind, whenever, like, because in high school, I could care less about getting good grades, you know? Like, I was just messing around. I'd probably be either blacked out drunk or high, you know, every single weekend. And I didn't care because, I don't know, like, it was like, okay, like, if my parents die, like, literally, I have nothing to live for, you know? Like, literally, my parents are my entire world. And if they were to leave this world, then what in this world do I have left for me? Because I don't have any relationships with my family back home, you know?
Right.
Like, they know of me, they know me, and I know them, but there's no deep connection, you know?
Yeah.
Like, for example, one of the first deaths that I've seen was my mom's mom back in Burma when she was over here. And for me, it was kind of like a secondhand death. So, like, I seen my mom crying, and because I had a connection to my mom, I felt sad because I seen my mom crying. But I didn't feel sad because my grandma died.
Right.
Does that make sense?
No, that makes total sense.
And so,
man.
like, it kind of desensitized what death was for me. So, like, now when I see death, it doesn't really bother me as much as someone who's experiencing firsthand death for the first time, you know? And so, ever since a young age, I was desensitized to a lot of things, and, like, I feel like my parents telling me, like, a lot of, like, hey, like, once we die, you're on your own. Like, that kind of shaped me into, you know, being able to stand on my own 2 feet at a younger age. So then now it's like, my parents are still alive, but at the same time, I've, I guess, grown into this success that I was meant to be.
Yeah. But it's a lot of men out there who are not in those healthy relationships. You know, I mean, look at, like, you know, it's a huge divorce rate, right? You say you want to get married. It's a huge divorce rate, and most of it is initiated by women.
Well,
I mean, what would you say to someone who can't find that connection that you have? How do they get there? How do they get to that point where you are at?
I feel like you have to take a step back and ask yourself what it is to be a man, you know? I look at it from a biblical perspective, and a lot of people argue with me nowadays because they think the biblical way of seeing things is like misogynistic, and, you know, it's
Weak.
Yeah, weak. It's toxic masculinity, and it's like, well, no, like there's a fine line between it, and I just see it in like a very traditional aspect. I feel like nowadays people want to go 50-50.
You don't believe in that?
I don't believe in that.
You don't? Why not?
Because if I'm the man of the household and you fully committed yourself to me, and then it's my job to become successful. It's my job to, you know, be the provider. And so, like, literally whenever I go out with my girlfriend, she never has to bring her wallet.
Man, you're going to score some major points on the internet, man. You're about to be an internet sensation. You talking about, and, well, you the women are going to love you, but the fellas are going to knock you off.
Some guys are gonna be like, "That's
Right.
dumb." Da, 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 da.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, like, my girlfriend was with me before the success.
Right.
So I see where she's actually genuinely coming from. And like, she's never asked me like, "Hey, can you buy this? Can you buy that?" And I see a lot of females saying, "Hey, could you buy me the latest? This, that," and it's like,
See, that's the difference, though.
Yeah.
That you have a special person, right?
yeah,
And it's a lot of men out there and women as well who don't have people like that, who generally care about them, who genuinely care about them.
Right.
So when you try to apply the same tools that you are applying to another person, you're going to get a different outcome.
yeah,
And I don't think that a lot of guys kind of understand that concept. Like, you really have to sift through the dating field to find a good person. Somebody said to me, like, man, it's tough to find a good woman. It's like a needle in a haystack.
Right.
So what does that mean? Does that mean that you just grab anything that you see, right? Or isn't it worth the journey of going through the haystack to find a needle? Isn't that more of a reward than just picking anything that you get, because you're going to get anything?
I don't like excuses. Like, at the same time, like, when someone tells me that they can't, it's another excuse. Like, for example, it's controversial, but whenever I see someone holding a sign and they look like they have 2 feet, 2 arms, and basically they look healthy, they look young, but they're holding up a sign. It's like, well, my parents came here with nothing. They don't even speak English, and they're working some sort of job, making a way for themselves. And you, as an American that speaks English, that has 2 legs to be able to walk and 2 hands to be able to do whatever, you're making excuses and saying, "Oh, I'm homeless, I'm struggling, this and that,"
Right.
rather than putting in the effort. I just don't buy it.
But
And so rather than giving those individuals money,
right,
I'd rather give them food.
that makes sense.
Because that'll allow them to keep going, Because if I were to give them money, it's like that money just, I could potentially be the reason why they become an addict again, And I'd rather be the reason why they're living rather than, the reason for their next high. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense. Everything you said makes total sense.
Yeah.
But for me, and I totally get where you're coming from, but for me, I just kind of give people things, right? I don't necessarily try to worry about what they're going to do with it or whether it's going to be negative or positive. Yeah. I would hope that they would use it for their advantage. But when I offer people things, I just give it to them because, I don't like to assume that a person is, say, they are mentally sound or they don't have some other type of ailment that I just don't recognize from afar. And I know it's been a few times I've got scammed. I've gave somebody $20 and they told me, like, "Thanks, I'm gonna go get drunk with it." And I was like, "Well,
nice.
Good for you. I gave it to you. Do what you will." I would try to get food first. Yeah. I've given a guy some food and he's returned it right at a Walmart. I pulled up. I gave him a brand new sandwich that I just got from Subway and some soup. And he said, "Nah, man, I could probably do with the money." And it was ice cold outside. It was like a blizzard outside, blizzard conditions. And he just wanted the money. I didn't give him the money. But for me, I think we do kind of, we give to people a lot of times. We do kind of think like, what is that person going to do with my money? And sometimes I think it's better to just not care. Give from the heart, and, hopefully that will change someone's heart. Did your lady call you real quick?
No, my mom just.
Your mom called you?
Yeah.
You say she speaks all what is it?
Burmese.
Burmese?
Yeah.
Okay, she's all Burmese? Okay, so that's cool, man.
But, like, the thing is, like, I kind of have broken Burmese, so, like, I'll literally switch back and forth. Mm-hmm. Like, every other, like, word / like, couple words, I'll switch from English to Burmese. And so, like...
Do something, man. Let me hear. Please.
It's hard to... Dang, you're putting me on the spot. So, like, certain words that I don't know, I'll say in English. Like, I just hope that... I don't know. Like, I didn't know how to say wolf.
Okay.
Because, like, my whole brand is, like, literally a wolf.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'd be like, this in Burmese. And then I'll be like, yeah, that's the wolf. And you know, I kind of have to assume that she knows, you know.
Okay.
Or, like I have to show her a picture, and then she'll say it in Burmese. I'm like, yeah, wolf.
Mhm.
And
That's super cool.
so with my dad is different because like he's always been like, you only speak Burmese when you're in front of me, and I'm like, yeah, but how are you ever gonna learn English? You know?
Is he just not worried about English? Or?
Could care less about English because at the end of the day, like he's always used me. I was like 6 years old going with them to do their taxes, and they would literally ask me to, you know, translate all these like tax stuff. And I'm like, I don't know. And my dad's like, what do you go to school for? I'm like, what do I go to school for? You know, like.
And y'all got a good community though too. You got a lot of people in your community who support each other. So I can see where you could not have to use English.
The thing with me is like I've always been kind of like a black sheep. So I've never been involved in the Burmese community. And like it sounds bad, but at the same, I love my people. But at the same time, it's like I've never felt like I've been accepted by my people. Like being a full-blooded Burmese person, I kind of was casted aside because, in a sense, I wasn't wanted there. You know,
makes sense.
And so, and like even like with the like actual Burmese community that are like full Burmese, they've never. I was like, you guys are kind of like weird, you know, in my eyes. And so like I never could correlate, you know, with them because like I was back then. I was kind of too Americanized, and like certain things that they did, I'm like, that's very Asian of you, you know. So yeah, I kind of like would hang around with like a lot of Mexicans, blacks, whites, everybody other than my race, and I feel like that's where like my upbringing's kind of different from a lot of people.
Makes sense. We've had 3 months of almost cartoon like media coming out of the White House, and that's totally different. I can't say it's any different from the last 4 years when Trump was in office before.
Yeah.
But it seemed like when Biden got in, it kind of calmed down a little bit. There were a few, you know, weird little spots there, but for the most part, it was a pretty common even keel presidency. And then boom, Trump's back in office, and then all of a sudden, bam, we got 3 months of the wildest shit that we ever seen.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that?
So politically, I wasn't invested until probably the end of last year. So like I never really understood politics. I always knew my parents were, you know, Democrats, or they're, you know, part of the left, but I never knew why. And they loved Obama, this and that, but it's because of Obamacare, and you know they got the little cell phones and all of that, and that really helped them out. But I really didn't follow politics until like Biden's like last final like 6 months. Ever since like the whole Afghanistan situation where he pulled all the troops and everything, and it was just like a really sloppy job.
That was the worst. Yeah. That was the worst shit I ever seen in my life. Yeah, man. I honestly, when people criticize this administration, that always sticks in the back of my mind as something that is just as heavy, if not worse, than anything I've seen so far. Was that pullout? I mean, it was people falling out the plane.
Did you see the videos where like they're like running on the tracks and then hanging onto the?
It was disturbing. It was the worst thing. It was the worst I've ever seen from our military. So, you know, it's always two sides to every story. It is good and bad in every administration. Right. So sometimes I think like, you know, all of our political structures are just kind of in shambles sometimes. So I try to be like dead down the middle when it comes to politics, because I want to take what's good in one administration and I want to get rid of the bad and do the same for each and every one of them. It's tough for me in my mind to stick with one type of party, because I feel like as a black person, that's something that we've kind of been accustomed to, is sticking with that one party. And I don't know if it served us well, you know, so I'm willing to try. And I think that was the big issue with how Trump got in office to begin with, is that people were so tired of establishment politics to where they were like, I'll just give this guy a chance because he's different, just because he's different, period. I don't care what the difference is. It's just good to see something different, something refreshing. And I think that's where Trump's been winning at. And I've seen a lot of crazy stuff during the Biden administration, not as much as what I'm seeing now, but the weight of that one instance of that pretty much that kept the tone for Biden's administration. And then you had the fact that he was, becoming kind of he was breaking down, mentally. Yeah, right. He was breaking. Everybody could see the breakdown. So that huge cover up was crazy too. But then, here we are in the first 3 months of the Trump administration. We've seen everything from the migrant crisis to the stuff that's going on with Elon Musk and Trump. What do you think about that Elon Musk and Trump thing, man? That is crazy to see right now. Well, the world's richest man and the world's most powerful man going through a husband and wife feud. What do you think about that?
I think it's kind of crazy that Elon knew about it and didn't speak up about it sooner. I think it's crazy how we kind of blew past over the Guillotine trials, just because of the fact that during that time they had the whole Kyle Rittenhauser situation kind of blow out of proportion during the time of her trials. And
which one? What was this?
So Guillotine is basically Epstein's wife.
Oh, okay.
And
Maxine
Guillotine.
Or something. Yeah, I got you.
And so basically, her trial was a big thing because it had a lot of high-profile individuals attached to it. And Trump, as Elon said, is probably one of them, and that's why they don't want to release all the files. Because at that point, if Trump is impeached, then basically that's bye-bye for him, and then the vice president's coming on. I don't know what propagandas they're trying to feed us. Just because I'm only seeing bits and pieces. Because I realize at the end of the day, this is way bigger than me. It's bigger than my pay scale. I can't really. I could put my 2 cents in on it, but at the same time, I can't really change anything about it. So yeah, I'm I guess more worried about is just the people around me and making sure that they're good rather than trying to make sure all of the U.S. is good. But one thing I would recommend is make sure you have your passports because, when shit hits the fan, you want to get out of here as soon as possible.
The craziest thing, like you just said, is that they both know about each other's corruption, but in the gist of politics, which is what I hate about politics, is that you can overlook some very corrupt things just for the benefit of yourself or your party. And that's not serving the interest of the American people. We see it from just like what we just explained with Biden and this issue with his degenerative mind state of, I think he may be experiencing dementia, not even early signs of dementia, very, very late signs of dementia. I mean, you couldn't even walk off the plane without falling and, stuttering. Yeah, stuttering and stuff like that. But, with Trump, too, I think he's a little bit, I think his mind state has depleted as well. Yeah. I think it just comes with age. But, yeah, it's amazing to see how much corruption can happen when politics is involved. I think politicians can be some of the most corrupt people on the planet. Think about it. These guys go into office, and a lot of them are just simple businessmen or even just normal people. Yeah. And then they come out with more than what they went into. That obviously shows me that they're making and building connections for themselves, for the benefit of themselves. That's where we get the lobbyists that comes into play. That's where we get the different subgroups like the PAC groups, the super PAC groups. Yeah. You can damn near buy a presidency or buy a mayor, or buy a governor these days with the immigration issue. Yes. What do you think about that?
So a couple days ago, my parents told me that they cut off all sorts of asylums for Burma. Mm-hmm. They were one of 7 different countries that Trump was like, okay, we're not accepting no one else from here. Honestly, there's only so much that you can allow. You can't allow everyone and anyone to get into the U.S. My whole thing is like I said, I'm Americanized now, so I kind of have different views. But I also have, you know, cultural background. So they call me uh what did my mentor tell me? It's third party, or it was basically like I have my background views, I have the views that I'm experiencing right now, but I basically take and choose what I want from it, and then I plot myself down in the middle.
Oh, well,
And so I have like,
sounds like you're solving a problem. That's what it sounds like. That's
yeah,
how we solve problems.
and so like the thing is, like, I understand that, you know, people want to come to America and, you know, live the American dream, but at the same time, we can't just allow anyone and everyone to also get in here. Like, for example, the end of Biden's term, like, literally our southern borders were wide open, and we had people like military-aged men coming into our countries, not knowing why they were coming in our countries, from China, Africa, all of South America,
Saudi Arabia.
yeah, you know, and it's like,
Iraq
how are
country.
these individuals getting here unless, like, it's somewhat planned, you know,
See,
like
and I agree with that from the Trump policy, from
Yeah.
that aspect of it. I agree with a lot of the things that he does. I don't agree with the steps that he takes to get it done, because it's
very
breaking.
extreme.
Well, it's taking you, in order to do some of the things that he's done, you have to bypass the Constitution.
Yeah.
You know, you have to basically overpower a part of the government that's meant to be there to equalize the three branches.
Yeah.
So, for instance, like overlooking a judge's orders or shutting down different critical departments of the government in order to make things happen,
Right.
just for the benefit of your party. I think it's extreme. It's extreme. And I think that if those checks and balances are not in place, then we could be opening ourselves up for a true dictatorship, another Mussolini, another Hitler. You know, and I think that's where, like, when people call him Hitler, I think that's wrong. But at the same time, I think what they're just trying to say is that this is Nazi-ish. This is fascist. This is, you know, this serves as those elements of history that we should have already been able to overcome right now, especially in
It's
this
a repeat,
country.
basically.
It's a repeat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's something to look. It's something to look into. What are you doing as far as like your long-term future plans? What's on the horizon there?
So I mean, I really don't have any plans right now. Just because of the fact that, for the longest, I would just always chase the next bigger thing. But then I realized, like, sometimes you have to sit in your success to actually enjoy where you're at. Or else everything's gonna go by in a blur, and you're gonna be like, wait, you know, I'm here now, you know.
Man.
And that's kind of how I felt, because, like, literally, like, once I started, like, gaining success, I would be like, okay, more, and I never took a step back to see all that I've accomplished. Because, like, when, you know, I was a kid, I'd be like, oh, I wanted to get here, you know, but I'm here now without realizing that I've surpassed what I wanted to be or where I wanted to be. You know?
Wow.
So,
Okay.
really, right now, it's just me kind of sitting in my success and enjoying it.
So where can people reach out to you if they want to connect with you?
So, as of right now, the best form of communication would probably be my Facebook, which is Kilo Santana.
Kilo Santana.
Yeah, and then I do have Snapchat, but yeah, I mean, I just really post, like, what's it called, like, haircuts.
I got
and,
you.
just random stuff. And then I also have a YouTube channel called Life of Kilo.
Life of Kilo.
Yeah, where I'm basically, it's everything outside of barbering. So, like, that really is like, hey, like, I'm more than just a barber, you know? Like,
Right.
literally, I have younger clients that have found my YouTube channel,
Mhm.
and they think I'm the coolest person ever, because before they were like, oh, you're just a barber, you know? And they had, like, a certain demeanor with me, but then once they found out I was more than just a barber and I'm doing other things outside of barbering, they're like,
Right.
yo, like, you know, when are you going to drop your next video? And I'm like, well, you know, it takes time.
Right.
So,
Bam. There you go. Thanks, brother.
yes, sir.
All right. Woo. Yeah, that's it, man.
See, what's crazy is last time I was on a podcast,
Uh-huh.
I thought it'd be a good idea to go on a podcast on shrooms. And that was